If there was a nuclear arms race during the Cold War, we are witnessing an arms race in silicon chips. Big chip makers like TSMC have announced billions of dollars of new investment, and others are opting for massive mergers and acquisitions. Samsung Electronics, which is the world's biggest memory chip maker, is also in the race. A total of $121 billion have been pledged, so it becomes the #1 player in what it calls the non-memory sector. The ultimate competitor is Taiwan's TSMC, as it is the top supplier with a dominant market share in that field. So we'll pin down Samsung's strategy in this battle and why it matters to you. Before we jump into the strategy, we need to talk about what the non-memory business exactly is. The term is more frequently used by the Korean press and chip makers to indicate a wide range of chips just other than memory chips. So they include central processing units for computers, application processors for smartphones, and camera sensors. The area also includes what is called foundry, which means building the microprocessors by contract based on the design from outside customers. As I mentioned before, Samsung is the largest manufacturer of memory chips, but its portion in foundry is less than a third of the market share of TSMC. To close the gap, Samsung will invest $121 billion into non-memory sector by 2030, proclaiming that it will become the top player in the sector. A lot of that will be used to design more advanced chip manufacturing process, and the essence of that process is to shrink the node size. Samsung and TSMC currently uses 5nm process or above, as the two are the only manufacturer capable of making the process node. But both are planning to introduce a 3nm process in 2022. So you now understand that Samsung is not the player in the playground, but Samsung wants to shake off that image of being a secondary player when it comes to release speed and functionality. TSMC has been several months or at least a quarter ahead to mass produce a new generation of chips based on smaller node size. For instance, it began mass producing 7nm chips in the second quarter of 2018, while Samsung got there in the first quarter in 2019. The gap narrowed for 5nm chips, with TSMC releasing them in the first of this year and Samsung in the third quarter, just several months ago. For the planned 3nm product, the gap will be further narrowed in, since the two chip makers appear to be targeting the end 2022 as the time for mass production. The Korean tech company should also prove technical advancement in the production of 3nm chips, because it plans to use a new technology called the Gate-All-Around FET ahead of TSMC. The technique is designed to enhance power density of the chips and improve energy efficiency, as the new design allows for more expandable and flexible current flow across channels at transistor gate compared to the widely used FinFET technique. TSMC said it will use the technology for the 2nm chips. More generally, Samsung would also be able to cut the production cost with the smaller processes. The chip manufacturing process is sort of like placing as many people as possible in a schoolyard to get something done. So a wafer, a thin disc-shaped piece silicon, can be described as a schoolyard, and transistors as people. So we can say that putting as many transistors on a wafer helps increase performance of an end chip product, and this is why transistor density should go up for better performance. And the node size refers to the distance between transistors on a chip, so the smaller the number, the more high-performing the chips are, while consuming less energy. The chips using the 7nm process, for instance, have approximately 130 to 230 million transistors per square millimeter. The The introduction of the new generation chip is more about improving the processing speed and energy consumption of electronic devices than enabling new services that you've never experienced before. The better performance could be experienced on electronic devices with a 3nm chip, including smartphones, tablets, and laptops. Technically, the smaller node size could provide the end product in smaller sizes, but those in the semiconductor industry says that the difference would not be that significant to be felt by consumers because the chip that we are currently using is already minuscule.